Hey YouTube, Aparsh here with another McLaren 600 LT video. Today's video is going to be about the differences between the McLaren 570S and the 600 LT, and the reason why McLaren values the 600 LT at about $40,000 more than the 570S. Today's video is being shot here in beautiful Kauai. I'm here on vacation, and I'll just give you a quick little look out of the hotel room to the beach. I like it. All right, let's get to the video. All right, let's talk about these 570S and 600 LT differences. Let's start. We're going to talk about 4 different areas where I'm going to talk about differences, and I apologize already, this is going to be kind of a long video and it could be so much longer because there's just a lot of information to talk about, but I'm going to try to stick to bringing you the most important information in a reasonable period of time. So we're going to talk about the exterior of the car, just the looks of it by looking at pictures. We're going to talk about the configurator. We're going to talk about the build sheets, and we're going to talk about a spreadsheet that I put together that compares the two cars side by side on paper. So let's just talk about the outside first because it's the easiest thing to talk about, I think. So there's kind of a theme about the differences between the two cars and the outside of the car, and the theme that I'm going to call it is winglets. So front of the car here, here's the 570S on the left and the 600 LT on the right. The 600 LT has a little winglet here on the front bumper. I'm circling it here with my mouse. I hope you see that. That winglet is, I believe, to help with aerodynamics for better track performance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's actually supposed to increase the performance by diverting the air around the car. And probably adding some additional downforce. And it also looks cool, doesn't it? So this winglet starts over here. You could actually say it starts here, and it flows in kind of like a U shape, whereas the 570S has what they call a blade, and it's more of a V-shaped blade. So that's really the difference of the front end. Everything else looks pretty much the same. And just as a reminder, the 570S and the 600 LT are basically the same car, with the 600 LT just having some upgrades. So let's look at the back. There are a lot more differences on the back. There are 4 major differences. So that winglet theme, we've got that going again here too. So you can see this large winglet here on the rear bumper. And sorry about that noise. I think that the cleaning people are moving chairs around upstairs. But okay, so the winglet on the rear bumper has an actual like indentation into the bumper for the air to be diverted through this winglet area. As you can see, there's no winglet on the 570S. There is a much larger, more aggressive diffuser on the 600 LT with the blades coming down a lot. They're just a lot larger, I guess you would say. If you look at the size of them compared to the blades on the diffuser of the 570S. The exhaust is my favorite difference of the car. So you know, you've got the typical rear exit exhaust system here on the 570S, and you've got the I guess you call it the the hood-mounted 918 style exhaust on the 600 LT. And then finally, you have the fixed rear wing on the 600 LT, with no wing or spoiler standard on the 570S from the factory. All right, let's look at the side. Same theme again. We've got winglets on the 600 LT on the side skirt, and if you follow the line here from the front with that winglet we talked about from the front bumper, it continues very nicely through the wheel and continues to the side skirt. Very similar to how they have the McLaren, I guess it's kind of almost like a swoosh, go through the wheel arch and into the door. You have a similar idea with this winglet air flow, moving to the side skirt, and then it drops off through the side, and then it picks up again here on the rear of the side skirt, and it's a perfect line continuing onto the rear bumper through the wheel. But that's about it. The mirrors are the same, and everything else looks pretty much exactly the same as the 570S, other than the wheels, which we'll talk about later. So speaking of talking about wheels later, let's kind of get into that stuff here on the configurator on the McLaren website. And this website does have some problems, so it might freeze on me. We'll see what happens. So the paint, there are more paint options available for the 570S. I think it's 35 paint options for 570S and 28 for 600 LT for anyone that cares. And then the wheels, the standard wheels on the 600 LT here on the right, in my opinion, just looks so much better. They have a kind of a sharp knife look to them, 10-spoke, whereas the standard wheels on this 570S are a 10-spoke as well, but they're kind of a flowery shape. And you have to pay some money to get something that I think looks decent, which would be this 5 twin-spoke lightweight forged design. So that is a huge difference to me personally. And these standard wheels are actually just cast wheels. So that does make a difference. You're getting forged from the factory on the 600 LT. Brakes and calipers, they don't really go into detail, other than you can get different colors on both of them. It looks like the 600 LT has more caliper color options by a little bit. So they're both ceramic, but the 600 LT has the 720S ceramic brakes, which are significantly better. And then the tires, you can get the Trofeo Rs on the 600 LT, and they're not available from the factory for the 570S. And the Trofeo Rs are supposed to be unbelievable. They're also very expensive. My research showed that they're about $600 per tire, which is probably about $100 more than the Zero Corsas. And then let's move on to the exterior. This is when I said that the video could go like for an hour or more. If I talked about every package on here, it could just go forever. But I'm not going to do that. You can just click these yourself, and there's a little I button, or I guess, yeah, it's an I, and you can click that and look, it's going to tell you all about each one of these packages, and that was why this would take forever, because there's a whole bunch of them. Both cars have a lot of different packs available. The 600 LT has a lot of deletion options, like air conditioning and things like that, to make the car lighter, where you don't have that as an option to delete anything on the 570S. So there's also the availability of the roof intake on the 600 LT. I talked about it in a previous video. It's a very expensive option. It's $30,000 or more. I think you had to add some other things just to spend that $30,000. So go to my other videos if you want to read about all the different options on only the 600 LT. This video is comparing the two. So let's move on to the interior. The 600 LT has full Alcantara interior from the factory, whereas the 570S has leather. And more importantly, the seats are a really big deal for most people, because the standard seat on the 570S it is a nice sporty sports car seat, whereas the standard seat on the 600 LT is actually from the P1. It's a carbon fiber race seat from the McLaren P1, which is amazing. And if you spend that extra dough to get the Senna seats, if they become available again, or you already ordered yours, they're currently sold out. But if you do spend that extra, I think it was about $7,000 for those Senna seats, you're getting that. Sorry, I kind of worded that funny, but you can spend the extra $7,000 to get the Senna seats. That's what I meant to say. And those are considered the LT Super Lightweight CF seat on the McLaren configurator. I wish they would have just said Senna seat. But this is a huge seat upgrade. Just alone getting the free carbon fiber seats, those are really expensive, and they're awesome. Even the carbon fiber race seat upgrade here on the 570S, I don't think is quite as good as the P1 seat you get on the 600 LT. It just loaded right there if you want to look at that. So I would suggest looking at this in full view, full screen on your computer if you want to look at that in more detail. Entertainment is pretty much the same, just that you're getting the standard track telemetry included with the 600 LT, whereas the 570S you have to pay extra to get that. The speaker system options are about the same. so I'm not going to talk about it. But you can get the higher end 12 speaker system on both cars, and that's really on this configurator. That's really everything. The rest of the options are just things about security systems and parking sensors and lifts and things like that. And if you want to buy a fire extinguisher or a shinier key. So let's move on, because that's really all we needed to talk about on the configurator. So we're going to take a look at let's look at the comparison sheet here. So the starting price for the 570S back when it was first released, which was 2015, was around $188,000, and that might have been a different year. It might have been 2017. I'm not sure which year that was, but McLaren emailed me and said that every year the 570S goes up about $5,000 more. So the current price sheet was showing it at $192, and that puts the 2019 model year at about $197, meaning that it's roughly $43,000 less than the 600 LT with no options. So the 600 LT obviously has more power. It's not drastically different, but you're getting a much better horsepower to pound ratio because you're getting a more powerful car at a significant weight difference. So these figures are all right here showing, 0.17 horsepower per pound versus the 0.2 on the 600 LT. They both have the same motor, the 3.8 liter V8 twin turbo. The 600 LT did not get the 720S 4.0 liter V8. Just to be clear, they both have the same transmission. They're both rear-wheel drive. They both are showing a 0 to 60 around the same. The 600 LT is not out yet, so there's no official numbers. It's just speculations and people claiming what they heard and stuff like that. So I'm guessing it's going to be more like 2.6, 2.7. The 0 to 100 is going to be more like probably 5.8 to maybe even a little bit less, and the quarter mile is probably going to be around, they're saying 10.4, but probably a little bit less than that too. Top speed at 204, maybe it'll be a little bit more because that's the same as a 570S. And then, as I've mentioned in other videos, only available for the year 2019. There is no other, there's not a 2020, a 2021 600 LT. This is the only year it will be available. Get it while you can. Yes, there's only 1,500 that will be built. Roughly 1,500 from what McLaren has told me. 750 Spiders, 750 Coupes. I'm only talking about Coupes in my videos. For anyone wondering, the Spiders are about $20,000 to $25,000 more. There is a sales limit on the 600 LT. There's no sales limit on the 570S. And then there's just little notes here. So there are available upgraded vented fenders on the 600 LT. My understanding is the 570S does not have that option. The rear bumper, we talked about that earlier. It has an extensive diffuser, extended diffuser, whatever you want to call it. It has the side winglets. We talked about the winglets. The whole car is 3 inches longer, and the LT stands for long tail in the 600 LT, just like the previous LT cars. They're all long tail cars, and they were longer than their brothers, if you want to call them that. The fixed wing, we talked about that. The wheels are forged from the factory on the 600 LT. The suspension is borrowed from the 720S. It does not have the same suspension as the 570, so you're getting that upgraded suspension. It has the top hood 918 style exhaust we spoke about. It has the upgraded carbon fiber P1 seats. It has all Alcantara. It has here's something we did not talk about. The instrument cluster has been upgraded. The actual graphics of what you see. When they say graphics, that can mean a lot of things. Maybe the resolution is higher. Maybe it's just newer, sharper looking, or cooler looking, or more time spent by the designers. But anyway, I don't have any pictures of what that is. I just have been told that it's better, sportier graphics. The brakes have the 720S carbon ceramics on the 600 LT. We talked about the tires. You get the Trofeo Rs on the 600 LT, and then these are all just little notes here that people have said. The engine mounts are firmer, the steering is quicker, the throttle response is sharpened, and the braking response is sharpened. So these are all things why the 600 LT has been upgraded, what's upgraded versus the 570S. Now we're going to look at the build sheet. This is the 570S build sheet from McLaren. I'm going to update the price here to reflect what McLaren is telling me. It should be about $5,000 more for the 2019 model year, and we want to compare apples to apples as most accurately as we can. So we're not going to change anything on, we're going to build this 570S as close to the 600 LT as possible to see where that price difference is going to fall. So no paint options. And then on the, let's see, this is interesting. They don't actually categorize this, but these are all design edition packs. So we're not going to do that. I was hoping to find one that had the wheels, the forged wheels. I might have to scroll down more for that. Oh yeah, okay, it's below. All right, so, and then I had already checked some of these. So carbon fiber rear spoiler, I feel like that's as close as we can get to the rear wing on the 600 LT. I think the 600 LT rear wing is still more expensive. So this is just as close as we can get. Titanium sports exhaust, this is as close as we can get to the 918 style exhaust. I would add another 10 grand though for the at least 10 grand for the 918 style exhaust. And then forged wheels, the cheapest forged wheels are right here for $1,800 additional dollars. Carbon ceramic brakes are included. The Trofeo wheels are not here. I'm just going to add a line here and I'm going to put Trofeo. And I'm going to say that they are, I would assume that the factory would charge you at least $1,000 more, just guessing. So let's see how that, if that works here. So that should be 1,000 there. I'm hoping the, oh, this spreadsheet formula is not working correctly, is it? So I'm going to have to do these by hand as we go here, no big deal. We've got the 1810 here. Okay, and then I do think it's probably safe to say that we should be selecting this Napa Alcantara option because the entire interior of the 600 LT is Alcantara. So I think that's a fair assessment. And there's probably even other things that I would need to click, but I'm not going to because I'm not 100% sure. Like maybe the roof, the headliner. But let's just assume that we don't need to check that. Let's see, what do we got next? We've got the carbon fiber seat backs, yes, because we're going to be comparing the seats, and their P1 seats are, I know that these options I check for the seats are not even going to come close to how much the P1 seats that are included for free are. So let's see, where here it is, carbon fiber racing seat regular, we're going to check that too at 6,200. So I know that's still not going to come close to as much as it should, but it's the best we can do. And then the track telemetry is included with the 600 LT, the standard version, so that's 2610. Keep in mind, he also said that the options for the 2019 will be more expensive than the 2018. So some of this stuff, it would still be even more expensive. And that's going to bring our final price. We're going to have to calculate this ourselves. That's $225,000 when we add that up. So let's throw that down here, $225,000. Now let's add some other things that weren't even options in here. So suspension, it's a 720S suspension, and let's just ballpark it ourselves. I would say if they added that as an option, it would probably be, you know, I'm just going to throw $3,500. It might be more. And then let's talk about the seats. The seats, I think, if they were offering those P1 seats, I think they would be, even though we already added it was about 10 grand for those upgrades, I think it would be a lot more. Just to be honest with you, I think it would probably be at least another 5,000. And so we're gonna put that here. Sorry, I've done seats, and then I think the 918 style exhaust, because if they offer the 918 style exhaust on the 570S, I probably would already be considering the 570S instead of the 600 LT for myself. I think that I would pay another, I think people would honestly pay $20,000 for that. So we already did the other sports exhaust, and I'm going to go a little bit lower and say 15 total. So let's just add another 10 for that. And I know there's a couple other things we're missing. Oh, the winglet. Let's just call it the winglet body kit. And I think they would be charging big money for that. Big money. Because if you look at any body kit from a, you know, even aftermarket, they're really expensive. And straight from the manufacturer, I would just think that's going to run at least $10,000. for the the front bumper, the side skirts, and the rear bumper. Probably a lot more than that. I bet it would be way more than that, but I'm gonna try to be a little conservative here. So we've got that. I think the wing would be more than what I added that carbon fiber wing for the 570. I think it would be even more than that though for the wing that comes with the 600 LT. I'm going to add another 3500 for the wing. And let's see, what else are we missing here, guys? I think there's probably at least a few more things. Oh, 720S brakes. And I would have to guess, I know they're really expensive. I'm just going to say 3,000. I think that's probably, oh, well, let's just say power increase, right? Bump and power. They would charge a lot for that, right? Let's just say $5,000. No, let's say 3. It's a little high probably for 5. And let's say like a weight reduction. I think they would charge a lot for that too. Let's just say $5,000. And is there anything else? I think that's a really good place to assess everything. That brings us to 268. And the reason why I'm doing this and wasting all of your time, it's not really wasting your time, but the reason why I'm doing this with you guys is because if you're seriously considering getting the 600 LT and you are comparing it to the 570S, you really want to know, why are you paying $43,000 more for that car? And do these other options really matter to you? Are they worth it to you? How much does each one end up costing you in the long run? And my opinion is that McLaren is giving you a lot more than $43,000. And there's a couple other really important things that are not factored in here. Exclusivity, that's a big deal. Because there's only 1,500 of them made, 750 coupes, 750 spiders for one model year. It's going to hold its value so much better. Look at how much 675 LTs are still selling for. They're selling for 300,000 plus because they're exclusive. The performance is good. It's really good, but a 720S performs better, and you can get a 720S for about that same price. But the 720S is going to continue to be built for as many as they can sell, whereas the 675 LT was like this 600 LT 1 year and they're sold. Only 1,000 sold. So I think that when you think about holding the value, the cool factor of the 918 style exhaust, I really think that this is a good purchase if you can afford it. If you're thinking about getting the 570S and you can't afford that extra $43,000, I think it'll pay off in the future, because you can already pick up a used 570S for, I think I saw around 110, 120 at the low side. And so that basically depreciated in half in, a few years. Whereas I think the 600 LT is going to hold it's going to hold its value. It might not increase in value. It might not be exactly what it was worth later. But I think it's still going to stay closer to what it was originally costing. And it's a better investment of your money down the road. So that's really it. We talked about a lot of stuff here. Long video, and I hope you enjoyed the information and the content. If you do like me spending all this time in making these videos for you guys, I really would appreciate it if you could do the normal YouTube stuff, because I want this channel to, if I get enough subscribers, I can eventually monetize this channel, and I can actually justify spending time away from work to make these videos for you guys. So the way YouTube does that is I need to have subscribers, I need to have people watching the videos, they check how many minutes and hours have been watched, and the likes on the videos, things like that. So if you can like and subscribe, and if you can share it with your friends, your buddies, and your family members that like car stuff, I really would appreciate that. So anyway, thank you for staying.